Hey guys, it's Audrey, and today we're going to go ahead and learn how to use Iowa's online court record search in order to do an informal background check on someone. So let me go ahead and put a disclaimer. I do not endorse this to be used for employment purposes. Absolutely go ahead and go get a professional background check done. This is just if you want to do some sleuthing on your own. Now, these instructions are specific to the Iowa State website. However, if you were to type in other states, you may find their court websites as well. So, for example, to get to the Iowa Criminal Record search source, I will go ahead and type Iowa Courts Online. And I do apologize if I'm stumbling over my words, but I am not going to re-record this. So we're going to go ahead and search Iowa courts online. Now, maybe you're looking for another state. You could always try maybe you're in Florida. Now, I don't know if it would work for Florida, but we can do Florida, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do Iowa courts online. All right, then what you'll want to go ahead and do is this first option that comes up, just go ahead and select it and do start a case search. So this blue text right here, kind of hiding up above the picture of the courthouse. We'll go ahead and do start a case search. And then under trial court, we'll want to come to case search. So it's going to be this right here. And then we will need the name of the person whose criminal record background we'd like to check. Now, I am making up a name. I do not know this person, okay? We're going to look up Joshua Palmer today. So, Josh, if you're out there and I'm airing your dirty laundry, I am so sorry, my friend. So for me, I really only prefer to use these first two fields, the last and first name. However, you can filter by whether they were the defendant or oh God, what's the other one besides defendant? The petitioner, the plaintiff. That's what I was going for. There are evidently a lot of other roles they could have taken place in the court. So you can even find people who have paid other people's bail on here. I've seen it before. And then you can also search related parties. You can narrow it by county. You can narrow it by case type. Sometimes if I'm searching for someone with a particularly common name, like their last name is like Smith or Jones or like Anderson is really common around here. For the Anglo-Saxon population, I will sometimes come and filter it by county just so I know I'm seeing the right person. But at this time, I'm not going to go ahead and filter it by a county. I'm just going to go ahead and do the I'm not a robot. Sometimes it wants you to identify the votes. Please select, oh, whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and search. When we come to the search results, we're going to be greeted by the following page. So let's go ahead and talk about what each of these fields mean before I would dive into one of these. So this is the case ID. Every citation or trial receives its own unique ID number. The initiated date is the date that the trial was considered open. Typically for traffic violations, it's the date that the citation was processed. And for the initiated date, if it's a non-traffic offense, I've found that it typically takes like 3 to 4 days for the county jail to get those charges faxed over to the county courthouse, and at which time the county courthouse goes ahead and puts them online. At least that's my understanding of the system. So the title is going to be what the case is listed as. So in this instance, the top one is Joshua James Palmer versus Tiffany Dawn Palmer. Other ones might say something like the state versus Joshua James Palmer. When we see ones like these where it's a person versus a person, we'll have a petitioner and a respondent. Sometimes we have a plaintiff and a defendant. These are typically either divorces, paternity cases, or domestic abuse relief petitions. So you can totally come on here and read about your coworker's divorce. I do it all the time. Okay. So now that we've went over I'm so sorry, actually, we did not go over what all those fields were. So this is the name of the party that's being charged, and this is their date of birth. So maybe like there's, 26 trillion Joshua James Palmers, but you need the one that was born on 6/7/78. So we've got him right here. Or maybe that's not the one you need. Maybe you need the one that was born in 1998, and you're not particularly sure what day in 98 he was born. That's fine. What we're going to go ahead and do is on our keyboards, find the control key, usually in the bottom left-hand corner. Go ahead and find the F as in Frank key. When you hit Control F, you're going to get a little box up here. This is your find box. Yes, it's a magical little tool. Now remember, we wanted to find the people that were born in 1998, so we are going to go ahead and do 1998. I'm now seeing that we have a Joshua Max Palmer that was born on 9/7/98. Let's see if there's any other charges for him on here. And there are. Looks like we found our Joshua that was born in 98. Excellent. So this is their date of birth, the DOB, and then their role is whether they were the respondent, the petitioner, the defendant, the plaintiff, perhaps they were the payer, they bailed someone out, perhaps they were a witness, perhaps they were a ward of the state. That's also a role that you can have on here. So there's a lot of custody cases, name changes, paternity disputes, things of that nature on here. I'll leave you to find the steamy stuff on your own. I'm not about to come onto YouTube and air anybody's business when I'm just here to show y'all how to do this. Okay, excellent. So let's say that you wanted to open one of these up in further detail. Yes, you really wanted to know a little bit more about one of these cases. So what you're going to go ahead and do is scroll until you find the case that you wanted. And please bear with me for just a moment. I'm looking for a specific case here because I want to show you guys. I'm going to search for it real quick. I think maybe I wrote it wrong. Okay, it was this one. All right, so imagine that this was the case that I wanted to identify, or not identify. This was the case that I wanted to know more details about in particular. This one that happened on 7/7/2020. So what I would do to open it up is I would go ahead and click on this blue text here, and I do apologize that you guys had to sit and wait for me to just find that. So when we come and click on the blue text, we're brought to this screen, which is called the summary. The summary tells us a few different things. What the originating county was, so this happened in Warren County. We can see what the charge was. Failure to maintain or use safety belts, adult. Joshua Max Palmer was not wearing his seatbelt on 7/6/2020 in Warren County. We are coming for you, Josh. So the charge class is basically how severe it is. So scheduled violations are like traffic offenses. Sometimes you'll have serious misdemeanor or just regular old misdemeanor. Sometimes you have felony. It depends upon what the charge is. The adjudication is how the defendant pled and was found. So in this case, it was an auto guilty plea. He basically signed the paperwork right there on site and said, yeah, I didn't wear a seatbelt. I'll pay your ticket. And then the adjudication charge was just what he ended up being charged with at the end of the day, which is the same thing he was originally charged with. Okay, so there are a couple other screens on here that I will go ahead and show you guys. The first one is this criminal charges button. So I'm going to hover over it for a second with my big blue mouse so everyone can see. And then we'll go ahead and give her a click. All right, so once we've clicked on that, we can see a few more details regarding the charge. We can specifically see what the charge code is under Iowa law code. I'm sure that charge code isn't the correct nomenclature for that, but I just mean what it's listed under in the law books. It'll be listed under 321.445 if you tried to look it up in Iowa law. And then we have basically the same information that was on our home screen. Now, where this criminal charges stuff gets fun is if you have somebody that is has theft charges or drug charges, or maybe they have multiple counts. So he only got one count of the charge, but for example, maybe you'll have somebody that has like 3 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia. So you can go through each one of those charges and see, okay, did they get a fine for it? Did they do time for it? How much? So on and so forth. Okay. We will talk more about that stuff later. Let's go ahead and visit this filings tab. I'm going to hover over it with my big blue cursor. So what is the filings? So the filings is essentially the internal communications with it between the court and the police department or other entities that might be managing the people that have had criminal offenses. So looks like this traffic ticket was particularly filed in Indianola. So we knew it was Warren County, but it was filed by the Indianola Police Department on 7/7/2020. The violations were handled by the clerk. In this case, the clerk is the officer who responded to the scene. Well, not responded to the scene. He pulled over. Then they notified the conviction to the Department of Transportation for this poor gentleman's driving record. And he paid his ticket. Speaking of, do you want to know how much your friends are paying for their tickets? Of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. You're here because you're nosy. So there's this little button right here called Financial. I'll hover over it with my big blue cursor so that everybody has time to find it on their side. Good. And then once you've found that Financial button, we will go ahead and click on it. And this is going to tell you how much your friends paid for their ticket. So the costs and the fine, I honestly could not tell you what the difference between those two items is. The surcharge, I would assume it's like tax. I don't know what restitution is either. So the financials, I'm obviously a little bit rusty on. I'm pretty well versed with the other stuff. I've been reading these records for a while. Okay. So it looks like all in all, Josh Palmer paid $127.50 for his ticket. So this is what the original charge was. Then we can see in the paid column what he's paid, and in the due column would be if he still had anything left to pay. Good job, Joshua. We see that you paid your ticket, and we're very happy for you, my friend. Let's go ahead and explore another type of event that we might see on here. And to do that, to get back to where we were, what we're going to do is hit this button that says search results. And that's going to take us right back to that home screen with all the different Joshua Palmers that we looked up. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and find a civil dispute. What is a civil dispute? A civil dispute is a dispute between two people rather than like a criminal offense has taken place. Now, this can be due to a divorce, custody, paternity, orders of protection are considered civil disputes, things of that nature. At least in the state of Iowa, orders of protection are considered civil disputes. Now, I had a particular case picked out that I wanted to show you guys, and of course, I'm having trouble finding it. Right when I said that, I found it. Excellent. So let's go ahead and check out what Caitlin Pennington versus Joshua Palmer were doing. Now, this one's interesting because it doesn't have a birth date. And Joshua is listed as the defendant, which means that Caitlin is the petitioner. She's the one that asked for whatever is going on here. She's the one that started the court case. So let's go ahead and dive into those details, remember, by clicking on this blue number that's on the far left side of our screen. Good. Now that we've clicked on that number, we can review the case summary. Gives us kind of the same details for the civil cases. This is Caitlin Pennington versus Joshua Palmer. This originated in Decatur County. You'll notice there's no guilty or not guilty under the disposition. That's because this is a civil dispute. There's not a guilty or not guilty party. This was created, so it was initiated on August 27th of 2015, and it was over, wow, within 2 weeks on 9/4/2015. So a lot of times when we have person versus person, we go here and look in the criminal charges and there's nothing there. That's pretty typical. What we'll want to do instead, if we want to be snoopy, oh goodness. What we'll want to do instead, if we want to be snoopy on what's going on between these two, is we'll want to click here on the filings button. The filings button is going to bring us all of that magical info that we want to know. So if you're on here because you're trying to creep on like somebody's custody or paternity dispute, you need to be in the filings. For example, if your sister is, taking this guy to court, to prove that he's the father of her child, and your sister's name is Shara, and the guy's name is Joe, you'll want to look for Shara versus Joe, whatever their last names are, and then you'll want to look for the filings on that case. Okay, and that being said, let's go ahead and open up the filings for that case. Okay, so looks like on 8/27/15, she petitioned for a relief for domestic abuse. So this is a protective order. Looks like they did issue her a temporary protective order, and she did obtain a no contact order against this guy. Good for you, Caitlin. If you're watching this, I did not mean to expose your business. We are very proud of you for getting away from the scumbag and issuing a no contact order against him, unless, of course, he's changed his ways and y'all are together now, in which case we're very happy for you. Alrighty, guys. So let's check out something else that Iowa Courts does for us, which I find really neat and convenient. If we go ahead and we come back here to the search results, we'll notice that the two cases that I reviewed, the one with Joshua Max Palmer on 7/7/2020 with his speeding ticket, and Caitlin versus Joshua up here, we'll see that the ones that I reviewed, although I had to scroll to find them, they jumped back up to the top of the screen for us, okay? So anytime we review a case within Iowa courts, it'll jump it to the top of the screen for us. So how I typically like to review cases is I start from the bottom, now I'm here. No, but really, I go like this. I pick the bottom one. I review the criminal charges. Oh, this one is a good one, you guys. Let's take a look at it. So he's got 3 counts here: interference with official acts, public intox, and disorderly conduct, abusive epithets or threatening gestures. Oh, he flipped off a cop. Nice. So he did get the disorderly conduct and the interference with official dismissed by the court. 9 times out of 10, the courts will dismiss an interference or disorderly conduct for the abusive epithets, and that's because most of the time it's the cops whining, oh, when this person arrested me, they flipped me off and they were interfering. Honestly, in my opinion, if you're a cop in small town Iowa, you literally signed up to deal with the town drunks. Quit crying about it. But he did not get out of his public intox charge. He was guilty by court for that, unfortunately. This happened in Union County on 2/2/17. We can open this up here to see a little bit more about his criminal charges, including who the judge was. Thanks, Todd Nielsen. You are a real one for dismissing the interference with official acts. If we want to see if Joshua did any jail time for this, perhaps, or if he had to pay any kind of fines, we could come to financial to see his fines. Man, he paid a whopping $740 for this hoopla that he caused. And then let's go to the filings and see what happened to him. Oh, it happened in good old Creston, Iowa. You know, I don't know where Creston is. Let's go ahead and look that up really quick. If you are in Creston, give me a shout out in the comments. Oh, y'all even got a Walmart. Oh my God. You know you are on the up and up in Iowa if you have gotten, oh, you're over like by Villisca and all that, southwestern Iowa. I'm like on the other side of the state. Okay, I see. Anyhow, so looks like he pled not guilty, and then he didn't go to jail. It would have said like sentencing if he went to jail. He did not go to jail. He did, however, have a third-party debt collector come for his finances. That's okay. You know, stuff happens sometimes, Josh. We don't blame you. Anyway, though, so if we go and hit search results, now State of Iowa versus Joshua Lee that we just looked at is up at the top. We'll go ahead and open up this one. Operating while under the influence, first offense. It is a serious misdemeanor. This happened on 2/21/16. If we go back to search results, it hopped back to the top. Those were not the same Joshua, by the way. They were 2 different people. Okay, you guys, so at this time, that does conclude my tutorial for Iowa courts. Please feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions or concerns. Maybe you're thinking, didn't you have a video out like 2 years ago that was the exact same thing? Yes, I literally did. And YouTube, like, told me that it was doing well and getting a lot of views, and it, like, suggested that I make a title change or something to, like, capture the audience more. Anyway, I'm, like, technologically illiterate, and I accidentally freaking deleted the video that I had made that was a tutorial walkthrough of this. So if you've been looking for my tutorial walkthrough and it mysteriously disappeared off of the internet, fear no more, my friends. We are back in black. This is the only YouTube video I'll probably ever make, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Goodbye.